Is Shepherd the one that gets the spirit totems?
Yes. So they can
then
also give
get
themselves
the bear totem.
advantage on strength checks.
Yeah,
which is only, I believe, once. It's one per short rest. So that comes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm speaking in circles. That comes. Speaking in circles, we're talking about circles. Oh, damn, that was good. Anyways, so you can.
Welcome to Monsters and Multiclass, your weekly Dungeons and Dragons fix. I'm Kevin Odie.
I'm Jared Bornagle.
And I'm Will Meldy.
And we'll be hanging out with you for the next hour to talk about anything and everything D&D related. This week we're taking a look at the Druid Fighter Multiclass, and then later on the Sorrowsworn for Mordecai's Tome of Foes. So pull up a chair and stick around for a while.
All right, so our two classes today are the Druid and the Fighter. Druid is a full spellcaster using their wisdom, and they can turn into animals, which is a pretty big deal in my opinion. The Fighter is the classic martial archetype. They are a soldier. They are a well-trained veteran. The multi-classing requirements for this is 13 wisdom for the Druid, and then a Fighter is a little weird as they require 13 strength or dexterity. So either way you cut it, if you're going for something, you can use strength or dex, which is pretty nice. First thoughts, Will?
The Fighter is the pretty obvious multi-class for almost every single class in the game. Like, flat out. The number of things that it has to offer and the simplicity just bring a lot to the table. I kind of wonder, especially with any kind of druid that focuses on shapeshifting, that's going to kind of go out the window. A lot of what a fighter brings to the table is not going to work in a bear form. So that's something to keep in mind.
Kevin?
I like this one. I think there's a lot of different ways to go about it. And I still think even if you're a Circle the Moon druid focusing on wild shaping, you can still get a lot of the fighter. Don't take it all the way up to like level 10 or something, because then you're wasting all the extra attack stuff. But you get a lot early on. And then a lot of cool options with Circle Spores, or then just make a Gish character with any of the other ones. I think there's a lot of ways to go about this. We usually struggle with multi-classing with Druid.
They're a bit of a tough one, just because they are so like just consistently good, but they need a lot of what they already have to do what they need to do.
Right.
So it, I don't know. I think I'm kind of interested to see what you guys come up with, because out the gate here, I'm really not loving this one too much. Fighters get a lot of really good stuff at low levels, which is always great. They get a fighting style. They get action surge, where they can take another attack action and, well, just another action on their turn every once in a while, which is good. Second wind is just like classically good. They get a lot of stuff that right up front is just like, I like that. But overall, a lot of their focus is taking a bunch of ability score increases. But when you're shapeshifting into a bear, you take on that strength, you take on that dexterity. It doesn't really matter what your stats are unless you're putting them into wisdom for spellcasting. So I don't know. You mentioned Circle of the Spore though. I didn't initially go for any crossover there. So I'm actually really interested. What did you come up with for that?
Really, Circle the Spore of any fighter, to be honest. It's Circle the Spore. It's somewhat more of a melee focused druid, because it has the abilities like for more close up.
Their wild shape doesn't turn them into an animal.
Yes.
So that, is one.
Yeah, the Halo Spore, so it has a reaction if somebody enters within 10 feet or starts their turn there, they could hit them with these spores and do some damage for them. They have to make a con save. And then, the symbiotic entity, they could use their wild shape. What does it do? It
gives them some more health, some temp HP.
Yeah,
so it makes them a bit more
hit points per druid level. Then your Halo Spores, you roll the damage die twice, and your melee weapons attack deal an extra 1d6 poison damage to the target they hit, and this lasts for 10 minutes.
Okay.
So it makes you kind of a more melee-focused druid. And how to capitalize on that? Multi-class into a fighter. So then they have those abilities, and now they'll have action surge, they have second wind, they now get a fighting style, and what fighters get access to every single fighting style in the game. So
right.
Take their pick based on how they want to play it. Then say you go Battle Master, you now have maneuvers.
Which is always good. I can't turn. I love my maneuvers.
Yeah.
Also, you do get, if you are going that melee druid route, you have a way of getting multi-attack.
Yeah.
With 5 levels into fighter.
Yeah, 5 fighter, rest and druid, or whatever could be really solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about so we have talked about Circle of the Spore rather recently with the idea of there a druid that you could actually fall into. Most of the druid subclasses, it's like you're dedicating your life to nature in some way. Circle of the Spore, you can play up the symbiotic entity where you're stumbling through the woods and you get some mushroom goo on you, and now you've got some control over spores and whatnot.
Mushroom goo?
Yeah, mushroom goo. It's an oversimplification, but I don't have all day to go into it.
Not you breathe in spores, you get mushroom goo.
There's like tons of parts of the mushroom. The goo is not one of them.
You guys really are not big on the let's just hand wave over the details,
I take mycology very seriously.
Okay, well, when you want to speak up, you've got your turn.
What do you got? Elves with the mushroom. All right.
So point is, it's something that you can kind of stumble into. So I like that with the fighter. You've got like the classically trained fighter background, and then for whatever reason, you get mushroom goo all over you. It made it worse.
All right,
You
so
breathe in some spores.
You trip and fall into a patch of mushrooms and stand up just covered in goo.
Yeah.
Why is there goo in this mushroom patch? Who put this here?
why do I just care about nature more now? What's wrong with me? I think there is actually potential there with the idea that the circle of spores can choose you.
Right.
Like that crazy ant fungus that makes them climb up to the top of a blade
Yeah.
of grass. That was the entire plot of Resident Evil 5 or whatever. But yeah, this is a magical realm. Screw it. The mushrooms, you trip into the mushroom patch, the spores get in your nostrils, and suddenly you're like, you know what I really care about? Nature and decay and stuff.
I mean, it would actually be pretty beneficial to the mushrooms. If the mushrooms are trying to make sure that their home is secure and, there's enough, the great mush is deciding, deciding that, hey, what's the best way to make sure we can spread out and multiply? Well, making sure these humans who keep ruining all of our land are taken care of. Okay, that makes it sound a lot more evil, but, kept in check. Yeah.
Maybe it is low evil.
Maybe.
When last time, or one of the times we first talked about spore druids, we talked about Venom from Spider-Man.
Right.
Kind of that sort of, symbiotic entity that's, attached to you, where it's beneficial in some ways too, but its goals may not quite align who's really in charge. Kind of that whole thing to play up. Can make for a cool character and works beautifully with a fighter.
Yeah.
Absolutely no reason it can't.
I don't know a whole lot about Faerunian mycology, mainly real world mycology.
Right.
But he's like Zugtmoy could also probably be associated with something like this.
Oh yeah.
I can see her
The
turning
Demon
people
Lord
into
of Rot. Yeah.
spore warriors. So, you got to find a good mushroom patch full of goo to trip into.
Yeah. And actually, Zugtmoy has spores. That's part of one of her things when you're around her, and it's an action she could do. There's a million ways she can infect people with spores,
right?
Which infects them with a type of madness, or if they die, they raise as a servant to her. So for whatever reason, you guys kind of always roll your eyes at this, but you're the special one. You get infected, but you're somehow managed to fight it off enough, and change it enough to kind of more work with you instead of just completely take you over.
What could also be kind of cool is using it as a character building thing. So I've never seen this with druids before, but paladins have stuff around so you're devoted to one specific oath, and then a big event happens, and maybe you break your oath, or maybe you change your oath, but the subclasses kind of become flexible. And I feel like with Circle of the Spore, you might be able to play that up as well, where maybe it is a bit of an evil entity attached to you, and it starts to really become a large part of your personality. You start to become pretty evil, and maybe it's a big character building thing where your party or yourself, whatever, you've got a bit of control over yourself, as you were saying before, but you still have this encroaching madness that comes, and you have to find a way to fight it off and shake the spore druid aspects of it. And afterwards, you come out on the other side, still a druid, but now you can switch your subclass. Maybe you focus more on the shepherd aspect, or just circle of the land, and it's a little bit simpler. I don't see any reason why you couldn't.
If you wanted to make it up that way.
Are you saying then multiclass into another subclass?
No. I'm saying
don't do that.
No. I'm saying treating it like the paladin breaking their oath, where you just change the oath. You go into a
Oh.
different subclass.
Okay.
You get rid of the spores that have been plaguing
Okay.
your mind, and now you go into Circle of the Land. You go
Okay,
into
so
Circle
you
of the Moon.
remove all the features
Yes.
you've got, and then okay.
Yes, you change your class entirely. It just be again a character moment. If you wanted to go into it with that could be your potential end goal is taking the spores out of your brain.
Okay, but the mushrooms are the good guys.
If it's fine if you want to play it that way.
It's not playing it. That's the truth.
Have you recently been involved
just
in,
saying.
in any mushroom related activities?
Have you woke up with large? I didn't really also mean that one that way. Either.
No,
I didn't
Kevin.
even finish saying the thought,
Yeah,
but
that's
you
for the
know where I'm
best.
getting at.
I don't want you to. So I actually did think of one because recently we had another argument about grapplers being totally useless. So I've actually got a pretty good grappler idea with this one because I did dedicate some time to reading up on how to make a good grappler. And fighters are, of course, good with that. But you can also do Circle of the Shepherd and make your summonings really good. And you could be like get up to 5th level in fighters. So you've got your multi-attack, grapple somebody to the ground, and then with your conjured animals, just gang up on whoever you have grappled and pinned. And that could actually be a pretty good way of getting everybody into the grappler mentality without having all of your party have to focus their classes around taking advantage of you grappling a character or something to the ground.
Okay. Is Shepherd the one that gets the spirit totems?
Yes. So they can
then
also give
get
themselves
the bear totem.
advantage on strength checks.
Yeah,
Which is only,
grapple.
I believe, once. It's one per short rest. So that because
okay.
sorry, I'm speaking in circles. That comes. Speaking in circles, we're talking about circles. Oh, damn, that was good. Anyways, so you can go use that on a short rest or comes back on a long rest. And it could, again, make you a pretty good grappler or work with another person that's a grappler, but we're talking about a multi-class. So you're the grappler. You only need to be... this would take a while to come online, as we say, where you would need to be 5th level in fighter to get your multi-attack or your second attack, and then 5th level in druid to do conjure animals. So that takes a while. But at 2nd level with the fighter, then if this is like something that you need to do really bad, you can attack, use your grapple, do your action surge to do the pin, and then you've got your conjured animals already up, maybe. So it only takes 2 turns even early on, and it's not too terrible.
Right. You just need to be careful with concentration. Maybe go in human variant, taking Warcaster, so you get advantage on concentration.
Yep. I could see
Because
that
if
being
you're
really
grappling
useful.
them and your conjured animals are beating up on them,
What else are they going to do besides hit you?
Yeah,
Yep.
try and break that concentration.
Yep, totally. Would they would have disadvantage on attacks against your they would not have disadvantage on attacks against you, correct? Since
they're on the ground.
Yeah, if they're prone.
But you're prone as well.
You know.
No.
Right, okay.
This is like
every
the
time.
I'm taking a step
15th
back.
time.
All right, I got you.
Every friggin' time.
You can pin without proning yourself.
So I want to use the term pin because in the grappler feat, that's the terminology they use, and that applies to restrained condition, and it also applies it to you. Outside of the grappler feat, you could knock them prone and grapple them.
Shove is the exact phrasing. You
shove them prone.
You shove them to the ground.
Yes, and then you grapple them, which makes their speed 0. It takes half your speed to stand up. Their speed is 0, thus they can't stand up, so then they're stuck prone unless you break your grapple.
Right.
Nothing about it says you have to be prone to hold them while prone.
Correct.
Basically, just stand on them.
Yep.
That's how I see it.
Yep. Nope. Totally fair. Yeah. So yeah, that's the basis of the character, and it gets really powerful. I feel like at higher levels where you're just pin somebody to the ground, call in your wolves, and they just begin getting these. Well, maybe not wolves because those already have pack tactics, but whatever.
Weasels.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel like works for you.
I do like this one. I don't know if specifically just since we were talking about grapplers, I don't know if fighter is the best to go with it. Like, it kind of works, but if you're trying to build the grappler around that circle of the shepherd and their totems and summons and all that, I think probably bard. Lore Bard would be a better bet because you get your expertise, which you put in athletics, and then you have cutting words, which you could use to lower their grapple.
Okay, yeah, they're probably.
But it's not really what we're talking about.
Right.
So.
It also takes longer even then to be extra useful, where you have to get to 6th level as a bard. Oh, they don't ever get multi-attack. Bards don't get multi-attack. So, unless you go one of the sword ones or whatever.
True.
So you
That's
couldn't
true.
do Lore Bard. If you did, this is getting out here now, but if you did like a lore bard and a fighter, that works pretty well. But we're not talking about druid and fighter anymore then.
Not even a little bit.
What's that?
Not even a little bit.
No. But yeah, I think that one could work. You could also do like Circle of the Moon, but then you really can't do much grappling with Circle of the Moon, because one thing that's interesting is even if you get multi-attack, you can't split those up for grappling and pinning.
Right.
Multi-attack is like just you're taking the attack action and
you're taking the multi-attack action.
Correct. Yep. Thank you. That's the way to put it. You're taking the multi-attack action. You can only replace that with one grapple.
Right.
So
unless you turn into an animal that's a grappler.
Yep. And you have to do
true,
Circle of the Moon for that, because one of the only ones you can do is a large scorpion. Challenge rating 3, so you need to do Circle of the Moon to get there. And on an attack, scorpions automatically grapple if they hit.
There's a bunch of them that do that.
Not a ton, actually. Not that you can change into as a druid.
Like beasts, yeah.
Can't turn into a crocodile?
Crocodiles don't grapple on a hit. I mean, I'd have to look it up. I'm not 100% confident in that.
Snakes. Big snakes, man.
Do they grapple
constrictors.
on an attack?
No, that might be...
Or it's just an action, yeah.
Right, because if it's an action to grapple, then you're just better off. Not better off, but you're just as good with anything else. Scorpions, I looked this up because, I went on the grappler train. It is one of the only ones, or one of the best ones, to grapple on a hit. So then you at least have that ready right away.
What about crabs?
I don't know.
Regular size crabs.
Just regular ass. I mean, you could summon a bunch of crabs if you wanted.
That'd be incredibly based.
Just conjure 16 crabs.
It should not be limited. You should be able to summon unlimited challenge rating 0 enemies.
I don't know about unlimited, but I would like an absurd number, because I could think of a lot of reasons that I want to summon like 20 weasels.
Hold a guy down. Each one of them does one. Perfect.
It'd be great.
Giant crocodile actually does have that. Their bite attack.
Challenge rating?
It's challenge rating 5, so you have
That's even higher. Okay.
Level 15 Circle the Moon Druid for it.
I mean,
but it's a bite attack plus 8 to hit. It's 3d10 plus 5 piercing damage, and the target is grappled with an escape of DC 16.
That's pretty
and
good.
it applies the restrained condition to it.
Oh my god. So yeah, I mean,
And then you can still hit it with your tail attack too, which is plus 8 to hit, 10-foot reach. Oh, not grappled by the crocodile. Never mind. It specifically says you can't.
That's
Kevin,
fine. That's fine.
How exactly would it grapple you with a tail?
Well, no. He's
No,
saying
no,
hits you with the tail when it's grappled.
But it's saying, the target cannot be grappled by the crocodile.
So that, I mean, it still works with the summoning. Circle of the Shepherd is like the best summoning, but you can still just conjure animals. So that works well, probably with Battlemaster. I don't see why Battlemaster's maneuvers wouldn't work while you're an animal.
Right.
You could use some maneuvers to really just change up whatever get some advantageous positions, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you got your animals to help you kill this guy really well.
I actually really question that. There's no reason that a Battlemaster crocodile couldn't work, but I feel like there should be a reason.
Sorry, man. There's nothing stopping it.
Actually, is there a size limit on what you could wild shape to?
Circle of the Moon basically throws all of that out the window.
Yeah, I think so at least.
I mean, what about becoming an elemental and doing some of this stuff?
That'd be cool.
That's pretty cool,
like
right?
Fire elemental,
Yeah.
Battlemaster maneuvers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, Circle the Moon, Battlemaster fighter. That was kind of my original thought with this, because everything works.
Yeah.
Fighting styles kind of a waste. None of the fighting styles work well wild shape.
Correct.
Because they're all dealing with very specific melee weapons
Yep.
or ranged attack weapons, which you're not going to have, or holding armor, wearing armor, or having a shield. So none of those. That's just kind of a waste, unfortunately.
Yep.
But yeah, Action Surge you could do well wild shaped. Second Wind you could do well wild shaped. And then all the Battlemaster maneuvers.
Yeah, that's really good. Any other fighter subclasses? Because the only one that I really came up with for this was specifically the Battlemaster. Mostly because I don't love Champion. It's like also just like a pretty generic one that's going to work in everything. Your crits are going to be more critty. Cool.
Yeah, and actually it's been, I know we don't do so much optimization talk specifically, but it's pretty much time and time again has been shown. Like, so even just on pure damage, Battlemaster is
It does better. I'm not surprised.
Than Champion. And that's the champion's thing. It's like, oh, I'm a fighter, I hit things well. It's like, actually, the Battle Master even hits better. Because all of their maneuvers add the
1d8,
damage to it.
and that
Yeah.
goes up to like
Yep.
1d10, 1d12 later on. So, yeah, not a huge fan of the champion.
You don't get an additional fighting style as a battle master, though, right?
Correct.
That's
champion gets it, which is wasted for Circle the Moon.
Definitely.
hugely.
So, not worthwhile at all. Eldritch Knight, don't see a reason why you'd want to do that.
Oh, that'd be such a mad character.
Yep, very much so.
Intelligence,
Wisdom, dexterity,
strength or
or
dex,
strength. You know,
probably want some con for your concentration saves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
no,
let's not do
don't
that.
like it. Don't like it. And what spell casting are you getting? Oh, I get some wizard spells. Okay. Did you need those? What else is there? I'm blanking on some of these.
Samurai, there's the Arcane Archer. A lot of it requires
Arcane
a
Archer wouldn't be
horse,
good.
a weapon,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I don't think Arcane Archer would.
I mean, if the Cavalier
Unless you
could,
went like Circle of the Land or Dreams and focus on the casting aspect, then you have Arcane Archer to be able to sit at the back and still do some.
you could
martial
actually
stuff.
do a lot of battlefield control while destroying the battlefield with arrows. So
Yeah.
it's not terrible.
Now, in the Arcane Archer, magic shots have some interesting effects.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are pretty good.
But it's just super limited. You could do it twice per long rest or something like
it's
that.
short rest.
Okay.
But
That's limited.
yeah, I agree. It's
Because they're not that good.
no, a couple of them are. I feel like the biggest issue, in my opinion, is like you feel kind of limited in what you can take. Some of them are just like not great, honestly. Other ones just feel like they're very similar to first level spells, which I mean is good. It's not bad to have first level spells, but yeah, I don't know. It's okay. You can get banishment, kind of.
Yeah. Oh, so what are your thoughts on using Shillelagh? So Shillelagh is a cantrip Druids get. I think it's Druid only. Maybe Ranger,
Yeah.
right? But I think it's just Druid only. So you could hold a club or a quarterstaff and you cast it on there. It's a cantrip. Lasts a minute. And then you could use your spell casting modifier for your attack roll and damage.
Right. So talking about with the multi-class of a fighter, I feel like it's going to become less useful. You're still going to be probably increasing your wisdom pretty high, so that way you can stay in your wild shape longer. Spell casting ability goes up. Amount of prepared spells goes up too.
Small thing, but it isn't wild shape half your Druid level. I don't think it has anything to do with wisdom.
The length of time that
Yeah.
you stay in it.
Right.
Okay, I might be wrong. That's fine. So
But so I'm just saying, so this character, it's kind of multi-attribute dependent with strength or dex and wisdom and con. Probably you could
Yeah.
kind of negate.
yeah,
one of those
I could
with
see it
Shillelagh.
being at least for a good amount of time more or better off using your Shillelagh. The only and
Like
say-
I would do this as like the Spore Druid.
Yeah,
right,
a Spore Druid
right.
combo with this actually really would work.
Yeah, I mean, then I'm wondering, like, I guess really you're just going into fighter so that you can get your multi attack at 5th level. Not just, I mean, also action surge and second wind
And battle maneuvers.
yeah,
You get a lot.
yeah. You get a lot. So yeah, I could see that.
You can't. It's so. This way you could kind of focus on wisdom and max
Right.
it out at 20. Do your dex at 13, the minimum. Then
Right.
you get +1, maybe 14, so you get +2. Then because you're just going to be in medium armor anyways, because
Mhm.
druids can't do metal
Right.
armor, so you'd have to do medium armor anyways with caps at a +2 for dex, and so there you go.
No, actually, I could see that making a lot of sense. I'd probably
And
do
then
that
the rest
exactly.
in Constitution and
Mhm.
dump everything else.
14 dex, wisdom up as max as possible, and then Constitution. Probably just focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
The only thing you're like losing out on that you'd get from the fighter is weapons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But who cares?
But I mean, you still can use those weapons.
You
You're
just
not gonna
lose
be great
the
with them.
Shillelagh.
Right. I'm saying, like, if a scenario arose where you needed to use a specific weapon, you would still be able to do that, and that's good. But you know,
Yeah, and a Shillelagh makes it a D8,
right?
which is decent anyways. And then you just do it as a one-handed thing, one-hand quarterstaff, one-hand club, and then take the dueling fighting type,
Okay.
fighting style, which
That's
adds
not bad.
+2 to it. So,
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good.
yeah. And then you could have a shield, right?
A wooden one,
It
yeah,
would have to be a wooden shield.
which
so,
is just a
yeah.
flavor thing. It doesn't
Yeah.
affect the AC.
At all.
No.
So yeah, your AC is still going to be decent. You're doing a D8 +2 plus wisdom.
And it's also
damage.
some really cool flavor.
Yeah.
Just like I'm imagining, like the fighter type and they just have, the spores as well. I don't know, just the combination in my head. So it's just, I love it. I like that a lot.
Yeah, especially they start as fighter and they're using everything metal to start with, and then you have that moment where they become infected by these spores and there's this drastic change in the personality. Or maybe it's slow, but immediately all of a sudden you notice they're no longer using metal. They've downgraded their armor. They have a wooden shield and a club. It's like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then as the character progresses, maybe you could have their physical traits actually start changing, like an eye starts turning orange or something. As things get really further on, there's literal like fungus growing on their body.
Yeah.
You can kind of make it like really dark.
Their armor and weapons too.
Yeah.
Like you could change it, like screw the wooden shield. What about like a fungal shield? Just like fungal armor. It's just hardened. I mean, there was the Zerkwood.
Yeah.
That was in Out of the Abyss, right? Where it's literally just, it's similar to wood, but it's mushroom.
Yeah, it's a giant mushroom.
Perfect.
Trees, basically.
Yeah, great. I made that into a shield.
Yeah.
Maybe it isn't. Maybe there's some flavor reasons why, or whatever, some lore reasons. Oh, it's actually not as powerful, but I don't care. It's really cool. I want to have a mushroom shield.
Yeah. Yeah, and this character starts like a knight to a kingdom. And they're all about that kingdom and serving that king. And then it keeps changing. They're getting more and more to restoring balance and protecting the wilderness.
And restoring the mushroom kingdom.
Yes.
That sounds familiar.
It's just Mario. We just made Mario.
Fun
Was
fact
Mario
from the real world.
infected by fungal spores?
No, he was just going for the mushroom kingdom.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
Does anybody know what a shillelagh actually is?
Isn't it in
That's like a beat
Gaelic
stick.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
that's
It's a beat stick, but what makes it a shillelagh is you fill the knotted head, hollow it out, you fill it with lead.
Oh,
Jesus.
what?
Yeah.
I didn't know
You
that
take
at all.
molten lead, you fill it up there, and then suddenly it's like, oh, he's just got a stick, and then you
That's
just got clonked by a 15-pound
Yeah.
stick.
Yeah.
I picture in Gangs of New York.
Yeah, no, that's very shillelagh.
Yeah. Drawing a blank on the character or the actor's name.
Butcher Bill?
No, he. I guess we could probably spoil this. Butcher Bill used it to kill the guy who had it. He was Mad-Eye Moody in Harry Potter.
Brendan Gleeson. He was the cop.
No,
Yes.
he was not the cop.
Wait.
He was the barber later on. And then he was
What's
running
his
for
face
mayor.
O'Reilly was?
Yeah, and then he was running for mayor. Have you seen this?
No.
You haven't seen Gangs of New York. All right,
Oh,
we just
come on.
spoiled
All right.
part of it.
But,
watch that.
Brendan
I
Gleeson
just tuned
is
out,
his name.
honestly, so nope.
It's not a major thing, but
didn't
watch
spoil-
it. It's a good movie.
Yeah, he beats him to death with a shillelagh.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
his thing. Like
I was more focused on the fact that druids wouldn't be able to fill it with lead because that's metal.
They fill it with heavy wood.
It's
it's just magic. It doesn't matter.
just a little toadstool at the top. That's just really heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the spore druid. I'm so glad they added
yeah.
that.
It's probably my favorite new class.
It makes the druid really easy in multiclass. With.
Yeah, a lot better.
Without it, we would struggle a lot.
We were.
That's always our,
we were
yeah.
struggling. That's why we were
Yeah.
like, hey, we should probably throw this in.
Yeah, we should probably finally get Ravnica.
Yeah.
Which I'm saying right now. I know I've been called out on that. I used to say Ravinica. I don't know why. I have that in my head.
You got that stuck
Yes.
in there, and then
Ravnica.
somebody called you out on it.
The Guild Masters
Polite.
got
I'm not
Ravenica.
angry about it. They were polite.
Kevin, you were really mad.
You threw a really big fit, man. You're like, why are we even doing this fucking podcast? Everybody's such a dick.
That sounds just like me. Yeah.
Morden Canaan's, fuck you.
We're not here to teach you how to pronounce shit.
These aren't even real words. They actually aren't real words.
No, most of them are made up.
But we did fuck them up just like blatantly.
Ravnica wasn't even close. That was I added extra letters. Like that was not a
Yeah.
Aluminium. The Brits do it. We'll just add new letters, man.
Aluminium.
Aluminium.
Aluminium. Close enough. So, Druid Fighter. I guess it actually does have a little bit more than I was originally anticipating.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm really excited about that fighter to the spore druid.
Yeah. Will, you getting ideas? I know you were planning on doing a spore druid, right?
But I'm super opposed to multi-classics.
Oh my god.
I would consider it. I don't know. We did not address how a druid might enter into the fighting realm.
Yeah, we did.
But we have said in the past, if you really want to, I guess you could train as a fighter as basically anything.
Yeah.
But I struggle to find anything flavorful. You know, it's kind of as you want to be.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can't think of a reason why a druid would think, yeah, so I'm going along this path right now, and I'm definitely getting more powerful, and I know exactly how to train. But I think the best way to protect everybody is to actually just start going over and learning how to pick up a sword and swing that around. Like, what? Why is that helpful? Why is
And the
that
other thing
useful
is,
at all?
there's so much on the table that you don't want. It's like, I'm not
Right.
going to use a sword. I'm
Right.
not going to wear armor. I don't care about the abilities
Uh-huh.
because I'm a shillelagh focus guy.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's actually kind of bad flavor, but you can squeeze it in
Yeah.
if you want.
Other way around's a lot more interesting. Fighter to druid. The
No,
sport
it's-
stuff we talked about in depth, but then and other things as well where they just kind of have a change of heart about. They have an event where they see the destruction of the natural world.
Right.
Really, it like resonates with them. And it's
Yeah.
like, shit, we need to do something.
Only thing I could think of is if it was like actually started in your background right out the gate of having a tribe that is just kind of equally focused on martial ability and your being in touch with nature. If that's like just how you were raised, okay. I mean, that's fine. But again, I'm not getting a lot out of that. It's just kind of this is the reason why. You know, like, oh yeah, we always just kind of focused on both. And I just have, we're starting at level 2, so I'm 1 and 1, and then I'll just start branching from there. So,
Yeah.
don't
And
love it.
That's actually probably what I'm going to ram into the character I make next.
You're gonna do that?
The Furlbolgs like taught him how to beat stuff with a stick.
That's fine.
Screw it.
That's cool, man.
It works.
It's literally going to be my world this time. So just you tell me what you want, and I'll shape the rest of it around it. Sure, Furbolgs are actually very aggressive fighters.
The militant Furlbolgs.
We can do whatever we want.
I'm excited for that next official D&D campaign.
The descent into Avernus.
No, the supremacy of the Furlbolgs.
Oh,
Where they come out of the forest and kill all the nature haters.
the follow-up of this campaign.
Exactly.
You guys play out your character arcs, and then we're like, all right, so what have the Furbolgs been up to? It's just totally rampaging the countryside.
Building siege weapons, the usual.
Out of mushrooms. The great mush has arisen.
I like it.
Anything else about the Druid fighter, though?
Any specific spells that stood out? So you guys, because now the fighter will have access.
That's a good
spells.
question. I think the Druid just has a lot of battlefield control stuff that isn't going to be bad. But I nothing's like specifically coming out.
They can absorb elements, which is
cool.
real nice and
It's
useful.
good. Yep.
Fairy fire, obviously great. That's
Like it.
not a lot of things get that, but it is concentration, so you need to be.
I think a lot of these things are going to be concentration, so it's
There's
something
like
to keep
fog
in
cloud,
mind.
heat
Yeah.
metal, hold person, and then tons and tons of healing though.
Right, which is good.
Yeah.
This is good.
Healing spear, cure wounds, good berry. I think healing word.
You know what didn't actually
don't quote
come
me
up?
on
The other way around of doing a little bit into Druid, but mostly fighter, that actually isn't too bad. We've actually brought this up a couple of times. Doing a dip into Druid is pretty useful. You can just turn into an animal now a couple times a day.
Oh yeah,
You
that's
know,
always kind of the easy,
Right.
safe thing.
Right.
The other thing is, it's an alternative to the wizard dip where you're just chasing spells. Now you're chasing druid spells.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it'd probably work best if you were going for more of the ranged fighter, because you're obviously not going to be able to wear plate now, just because of your little dip into Druid.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to... Can they use metal weapons, or is it no metal at all?
It says they can, but
They probably wouldn't like to. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it doesn't
you'd probably do like ranged. You're an
Yeah,
archer.
you got your
So you
bow.
got a longbow, your medium armor, focus on dex, and a small dip into druid so that you get some first level spells. You get some healing, which is nice. You get your wild shape. I mean, you can really take that as far as you want, and I think you're going to be pretty happy with it. And all of the ability score increases that fighter gets you allows you to put that into wisdom, and you can actually increase your ability score. Or you can take feats that are just gonna generally help out the druid side, or play into it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's perfectly viable, and it's exact same flavor of the a hardened veteran who starts to see the druid, the importance in nature, and maybe they fuck off to the woods for a couple of years and then they come out of it on the other side a little bit stronger. Might be a bit tough to do at the very start, because you'd expect them to continue on that druid focus, but I think you could work something out there, and I don't think it's going to be bad mechanically. All right, now I don't have anything else.
that's all I got.
Yep.
All right, cool. Let's move on to our monster of the week. Before we do, though, last thing is if we missed anything, if there was a combination that excites you about the Druid Fighter, absolutely love to hear about it. We, as usual, are very prone to missing things. It's pretty easy. So let us know through Twitter, usually the best way, or if you find us on Reddit, give us an upvote, comment, tell us why we're wrong. We love it. Review us on iTunes, on wherever else you can. And I think Twitter, I didn't say, is monsters_multi. And if this is your first time listening, welcome. Kevin loves you.
It's true.
Just going to keep pushing that angle. Kevin loves all of our viewers. He doesn't talk about it, but I can see it in his eyes.
Viewers?
Listeners? Whatever.
Yeah.
We have a YouTube now. Fuck off.
Oh, hey, yeah, we do have a YouTube, don't we? We made that video that I promised people like a month ago, and then you fucked off to Norway for the past month, and you never released that.
You could edit it.
I don't know how to edit, man. I actually didn't have the file. Is it on the Google Drive?
I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, okay,
I
so...
in my defense, a video has never been the focus of what we do here. It's like,
fine.
oh, you mean you rearrange your schedule to record a whole bunch of bulk of these, and there's been so much time to edit and pre-publish all of these, so there's zero gap for our listeners. But you forgot to do that 5-minute video that no one really was expecting. Fuck you, Kevin. You're terrible.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's how we feel.
Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same page.
I'm glad you understand why you fucked up so badly.
No, Kevin, thank you for pre-editing like 6 episodes. That way we didn't have to have a gap.
That was really annoying.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
The one a week is good. I have to sit down and do 6 of them at once. It's it's kind of a lot.
Yeah. Right. We're a Zero Gap podcast. We are going now 38 weeks strong, 37 or something, without missing one
37.
yet. So we're approaching.
That being said, we released 5 when we launched all at once. So
that's true.
32-ish. Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Whatever. You want to move on?
Yeah.
Thank God.
Okay.
All right. So we didn't come up with anything for the Druid Fighter.
The name?
Yeah,
we
a name.
completely forgot.
Do you guys have
we've
anything?
committed to it for like 3 episodes and then forgot.
We're trying our best.
Yeah. All right, Druid Fighter.
We got the Driter,
The good
the Fluid.
What?
Where are you getting the G out of?
fighter, idiot.
You just taking the G just
Once
out
you take
of
the
fighter?
H out of it, for good.
Oh, Fuguid.
Oh.
Fuguid. Okay. That really goes with
That's-
my mushroom thing, so I like
Yeah.
that. Especially, so the Fuguid is specific to the fighter spore druid combo.
Obviously.
No.
I
I'm
don't
good
like
with
the
the
goo.
GUID just because you're completely changing the sound of it by taking the H out.
Yeah.
It's like, and it really doesn't work. It's
Fuguid.
great.
Fuguid.
GUID.
All right. Cool.
All right.
I'm good with that.
Fuguid.
Or it should be like Fig Guid. Fig Guid. I don't know. I'm overcomplicating it now.
For good.
For this week's monster, we're looking at the Sorrowsworn. The Sorrowsworn are actually a group of monsters that come from the Shadowfell. Each one is a physical embodiment of a negative emotion. Their attributes, their abilities, their stats, how they play, and pretty much everything about them, the idea is it embodies this emotion. And for the players being able to recognize that and not give into such emotion, or the emotions they're feeling, can help weaken these creatures to make them easier to fight. Otherwise, they're in for a very, very tough time. I've actually thrown these at these 2 guys and some others in a group. Always very memorable fights, very tough fights for the proper level. And a really cool thing overall to look into. What are you guys' thoughts on the Sorrowsworn?
They're assholes, and I hate you for throwing them at us. Probably one of the toughest fights we've had all campaign was against a grouping of these that you did expertly well, and I hate you. But, won't say any more. Will?
I like them. There's a couple of them that are regular tanks, the angry.
Right.
Real bad guy. The rest of them, just serious amounts of damage, serious amounts of resistance too. One constant thing with all of these is they have resistance to all martial damage, essentially, if they're in dim light or darkness.
Right.
This might be something that doesn't come up, but that could have your entire martial section of your party's damaged the entire fight. That's doubling their health if they don't get it out of that.
That makes me wonder, actually. Did you take into account Galatea, or not Galatea, that's my character's name. I always do that. Dawn, like shedding bright light. If I
Yeah.
was okay, man, that was definitely worthwhile. Then I have a Sun Sword reskin that definitely sheds light, but I didn't even realize that the Angry has 255 HP with an 18 AC. So that's absolutely ridiculous. And then if it has blood or resistance, it's not even non-magical. It's just all bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing.
Yep.
So, oh my god, if you're in that dim 510 HP with an AC of 18,
That's just that is the thing in these fights. If you keep that mechanic going, you do need to make sure your players understand they're not doing much when they're hitting.
How do you even make them realize that though? Like, what can you do to show off that, like, hey, the dim light is, causing a problem? Unless you have like spots already in the combat zone where some is light and some is, dim or whatever. So that way you like just have that already set up. I could deal with that. And then it's like, hey, you attacked him over here. It didn't seem to do much. You're like, oh, he walked over here and the light caught his eye, and as you came down and swung your blade, it seemed to connect a lot better than before.
Right. Or most likely the party will probably have a torch or somebody using the light cantrip.
Does a torch create bright light?
Yeah.
Okay, it's bright light for like 10 feet or something.
Or, I don't know the range, but yeah.
Okay.
To dim. Yeah, same with the light cantrip.
Okay. Then all right. Then you've got something.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that be great if it's the one time that your entire party has dark vision and they're like, we don't need any light.
Why isn't this working? Before diving into the specifics, just a quick overview of all of these. So you have the Angry, that's the highest challenge rating 13. Hard hitter, really hard to kill, really. The Hungry, challenge rating 11, with some interesting mechanics about.
They all have interesting mechanics.
Yeah, really.
I hate to say it, but we're going to get into them. So
yeah, the Lonely, the Lost, and the Wretched.
Yeah.
And that's actually pretty much descending order of challenge rating.
Yep. So that's all right. We're going to go in them in that way.
So this might end up being split into like a 2-part thing just because there's a bunch of them and each one's pretty unique. But lore-wise, they're all really the same. They are, like I said, motion incarnate from the Shadowfell.
Right.
That's all spill out into this world.
All of them have abilities that really play up the fact that they are, in this one, the Angry, like the Rising Anger from the Angry, where if it gets hit, if another creature deals damage to the Angry's attack rolls have advantage until the end of its next turn. And the first time it hits with a hook attack on its next turn, the attack does an extra 3d12 psychic damage. If it doesn't get hit at all, it has disadvantage on its attack rolls.
Yep.
So
and attacks already hit hard, so it makes 2 hook attacks plus 8 to hit, and that's already 2d12 plus 3. So then its attacks become 5d12 plus 3, 3d12 of that psychic, which almost no one resists.
And advantage.
Yes.
So, I mean, this thing just hits hard to an extent. Like, it's really just a pure hitter. It's going to be figuring out what makes it do damage and how you can stay far away from it.
Yeah, that special ability kind of felt a little weird to me because saying, if you do damage to it, it's going to hit you back really, really hard, so don't hit it.
Right.
But nothing about it to me screams like, oh, it's just going to leave then. It's like, it's the Angry.
No,
it's
totally.
It's going to beat on you.
Totally agree. Yeah, I guess a little flavor-wise that makes a little...
Yeah.
I could almost see it.
That's what they were going for, though, where that was the intent, where if the party realizes, all right, we just need to stop, sit down, or not literally sit down and make stuff wrong, but not hit this thing, it's going to get really confused and then just wander away.
It maybe even less wander away, but make it a lot easier to run away from.
Yeah.
It definitely behooves running away.
Right. Whereas if you are, sitting there trying to just wail into it over and over again, you're having a very difficult fight, and you're probably going to get pretty pissed near the end of it. But if you just, are like, what, we need to get out of here. We aren't going to feed into its anger. Then you just bolt, and it's going to have a lot harder of a time really doing much to you. And I would use that flavor wise, where once you get a good amount of distance away, then you're going to start hearing it like just be confused. You throw out some weird confused noises.
Yeah. Actually, it speaks common, so.
Well, that is a common phrase for what's going on.
That's weird that it speaks common. I actually did not realize that at all.
Big
Two
feature.
heads and
Oh yeah, when you have two heads, you just speak common. It happens every time.
Well, no, the two heads bicker with each other in common until they find somebody to direct their anger towards.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's what that is all about. And with two heads, like anything that has two heads in this game, they get advantage on perception checks and saving throws against blind, charmed, deafened, frightened, etc.
Right.
Which is a common trait.
I could see, so talking about how to fight this thing, if you do need to engage with it, it really becomes effectively worthless if you can just keep it where it's at. It has only a 5-foot range.
Right.
So if you have a way to slow it down and just stay far back and do damage from a distance, it's going to be really at a disadvantage here.
For sure.
So this is something where I feel like the first fight, having your party figure it out is going to be really big. And once they do that, if you ever try and throw this thing at them again, which it doesn't really make that much sense to throw this exact thing at them again, they're going to try and do everything they can, keep it where it's at and get some light on it. And now let's just stay as far back as we can and just take pot shots at it.
Right. Yeah, if rooted in place or whatever, because it doesn't really have amazing saves or anything.
No.
It's
got good strength.
Yeah,
and con.
+3 for strength, +4 for con. Everything else, -2 charisma, +1 wisdom, -1 intelligence, 0 dex.
Right.
+0 dex. Yeah, it's... So, yeah.
You just cast
Probably keep it at bay.
grease on it. Just keep on tripping it.
Right.
It's probably also worth noting that these things do combine well with each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll
So
get to that.
If we look at this, the anger ability, if you want to, you're probably way, way better off taking your anger out on one of his friends rather than him. Because if he's kind of impotently disadvantaged the entire fight while you beat up his friends, that's good.
You know what you could also play up? You could really play up the anger of you not giving into it. So like he gets disadvantaged because he's now attacking wildly. Instead of taking his time and kind of understanding the situation where it's like, yes, there's anger directed at me. I am going to direct my attacks at this thing and knows exactly how to do it. It's more of like, why aren't you fighting back? What's wrong? Why aren't you doing this? This is how it's supposed to be, is I come in and I attack you and you're supposed to attack me back. And it gets really frustrated. So you still can play up that anger. You were saying before, oh, why does it get disadvantaged? But it's getting disadvantaged because it's just in a blind rage now instead of it being well directed.
Right.
So that could definitely work.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that with the other ones where it's now getting confused as it's like, why are you attacking that one instead of me? I'm going to run over here and just take wild shots that aren't doing nearly as much as they would if I was being a little bit more focused.
This is also one of those things that I personally lean towards that I don't think a lot of game masters do is this is a great character to use your DM creativity and terrible acting and voice acting skills to be like, all right, I might have thrown too many of these Sorrowsworn at my party. If they ignore this angry guy, though, he's, why aren't they hitting me? And just goes and starts bashing at the wall.
Right.
Waste a turn. As the DM, you are totally in the right to waste a turn if you feel like that fits the flavor or if you feel like you really did throw too much at your party.
Yeah.
And this is a great guy to do it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It. Maybe even taking out a bridge during this entire situation.
Yeah,
that would be an interesting thing happening.
He causes other problems. Maybe you're in caves, like when they were thrown at us, and now he's causing a cave-in because instead of attacking us, he's slamming into a wall and now making rocks fall from the ceiling or something, which could hurt everybody. It's going to hurt the Sorrowsworn that are also here. It's going to maybe even hurt himself, and that snaps him out of it.
Once the rocks fall, everyone dies.
Oh, yeah, right. Rocks fall, everyone dies. Yeah, got it.
So careful with that one.
But it can just be small bits of gravel, not boulders falling from the ceiling.
Yeah.
But, if he takes... Oh, actually, it might say it's if another creature deals damage to the angry.
Yeah.
So it does need to be specifically a creature damage. It wouldn't snap him specifically out of it. But either way, I think that's pretty cool. I like that. There's definitely a lot of flavor you can do with this one.
Yeah.
Next one, the hungry?
Yeah. We'll just work our way down.
Yeah, cool.
This is one we haven't used, actually.
I thought so. It didn't seem familiar.
Yeah.
So the hungry's main thing is that it's a hungry boy.
The mechanics for this one, I feel don't quite match up.
Right. So
with its special thing is life hunger, which if a creature the hungry can see regains hit points, the hungry gains 2 benefits until the next turn and has advantage on attack rolls, and its bite deals an extra 40-10 necrotic damage on a hit. So it's like saying, all right, so don't heal in front of it.
Right.
I don't quite see that matching up with like hunger and
I don't really either.
Like gluttony of.
The only thing that I can see is like its attack actions make sense to me. Because it's
bite and claw.
Right. So it claws, it grapples and restrains, and then it's going to be biting the crap out of you. But I don't
see a party putting that together, realizing, all right, so we need to think about this thing's. It feeds. It's hungry all the time. It's gluttonous.
Right.
We need to not give into that in its presence, or we'll make it more powerful. I know we won't heal anybody.
Well, no, you have to show it. This one,
I know.
How?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's such a stretch.
What does healing look like? Healing looks however you define it. Light comes from your hand. The healing word strikes against the fighter,
if you're
filling
him
with
Druid,
vigor.
it just mushrooms over his wounds.
Yeah, mushrooms come out of his wounds. The hungry's mouth grows agape as light is sucked into it, and he's filled with a necrotic energy. You have to show that he is sucking up that life force that you're giving.
No, I get that, but I guess what I'm getting at is flavor-wise, why?
Right.
How does that fit? It's like desperation.
Eating. I would rather it gain HP like when it does necrotic damage. Because it doesn't do that, and I feel like that seems a little bit more fair.
Add like a cool sort of ability on its bite effect.
Right. Or like even if if healing happens nearby, then it regains health as well. Or like I don't know, just some life drain ability that I'm not seeing out of this that I'd really expect. Actually, I think we could totally not saying rework it, but maybe we're just whatever the triggering thing is. I would expect like. It just regains health that turn instead, and like you playing up that idea of it like mouth agape and sucking in energy of sorts, and you see its wounds close up as you did the thing. I just can't really think of what the thing would be. I don't like healing though. I know that.
Yeah.
The one thing that would make a little bit of sense is if it does get you in his jaws or in his claws and like biting at you, and the cleric's like, "Oh, I gotta heal the guy in the grapple."
Right.
You see the heal like getting sucked out of the hungry, or and this is the alternative that they didn't really make clear. He sees that the target that he's eating has now more life force and almost gets excited and ramped up to take more out of him.
Okay, that I'm getting that,
but
like
that is kind of a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. But it's,
I like the idea. They just execution.
Not my favorite of them. Yeah, for sure.
Mechanically, I really actually do like it though.
Where healing makes it do 4d10 necrotic on a hit and advantage on its attack.
An extra 4d10 damage is terrifying.
Right, for sure. And I think, again, when it does happen, when somebody does healing, I think it does really, you need to play that up a bit where, somebody gets healing and its eyes instantly go like, whoosh, lock on to that person, and it just does whatever, risking opportunity attacks, doesn't matter, to get to that person and make the attack. I would make them the focus. If they're getting healed, he wants them.
I think that's a better idea.
Yeah. This thing is actually, its AC and hit points are very similar to the Angry, just slightly less, 17 AC and 225 hit points.
30 less HP, 1 less AC. Yeah, and
it also hits hard. It makes 1 bite attack and 1 claw. The bite is 1d8 plus 4 piercing and 3d8 necrotic. And then its claws being 46 plus 4 slashing damage. Both of these are plus 8 to hit. With the claws, it's if it's hit, it's grappled and restrained.
DC 16 to get out, which is good. And I'm assuming, it's got 2 hands. It can claw.
Actually, it says while grappling a creature, the hungry can't attack with its claws.
Oh, so it does it with both.
Yeah.
Oh, meh. I mean, it was
terrifying for the party.
You know what? You're right. You're right, because this means that this thing is going to latch on to the first thing it hits, and that is going to be the focus. And when you try healing your buddy to like keep them alive, that's just going to make it even angrier.
Yeah.
Or I guess hungrier. So that I kind of like. It does put in, I could definitely see a scenario where me as the paladin rushes into this thing, and then it grabs onto me with one of its hits and bites into me, and I'm already at like half health or even lower, whatever. And Saucy's like, all right, time to bring out the healing word or something to keep your ass alive. And then you pop up the healing word, and now we have that triggering effect.
That being said, we don't do that. I would say kind of any more like veteran of 5e understands
The yo-yo.
usually healing in during a fight is not beneficial unless it's to bring somebody up.
But think of how frustrating that part would be, where you do, they go down, I go down, and it's like still got me in its hands, and then I go unconscious, and it's like, all right, got to use the healing to bring them up. You use the healing, and the thing's
then
like,
it goes, yeah.
okay, it's go time.
But that's
Still just going to keep focusing on one person.
yeah. Well, in the life hunger thing, it only lasts one turn, so basically it doesn't get it until somebody goes down.
Yeah.
Or I mean, for us, for how we play, and I know
Right.
a lot like within the greater community, a lot of people share that sentiment.
No, I
where
know.
you don't really heal during combat unless it's to bring someone up.
I think it'd be a great thing to throw at your party if they have somebody who identifies as a healer. I am a life cleric and all I do is heal people. It's like, all right, have fun.
This could get triggered by potions too. So I mean, there are things.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, there are.
Anything that happens, but
There are.
Yeah, I guess it just regains hit points.
I mean, in that case, I could totally see, like, once again, Paladin up there in the shit, and then I use lay on hands on myself. It's like, oh, that's 35 points. This will help me out a little bit. Nope.
yeah.
Bad move. Sorry. But overall, it's not my favorite one.
Yeah.
I don't think the triggering stuff's going to happen. I don't think your party's going to get it as much as you can make them get it with these other ones.
Right.
So next one is the Lonely, which we
Yes.
have fought before.
Yes.
And that one I think is up there as one of my favorites. And I think you did a great job of playing this one out with using your fun DM voice at that point. You gave him the derpy like
Friends.
Yeah, friends. I love that. That was a really fun one. So it's number one thing in my opinion is the thrives on company. So the Lonely has advantage on attack rolls while it is within 30 feet of at least 2 other creatures. Otherwise, it has disadvantage on attack rolls. So that is going to come up. You're going to understand that this thing is, again, through DM play, role play, whatever, it should be pretty obvious that this thing wants to be close. And when it is close, it's doing everything it can to get these hits and
Right.
a lot better at it. But on top of that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I say, go on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
On top of that, it has its Psychic Leech. So that way, when you are within 5 feet of it, you have to make a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw or take 3d6 psychic damage. Now, this thing's a challenge rating 9, which first one we talked about, the Angry, was 13, then on to 11 for the Hungry. Now we're on to 9. It is starting to drop in the damage a little bit. But around that challenge rating, you're going to be party of maybe 6 or 7, 3d6 psychic damage every turn with a save of 15 Wisdom. That's pretty brutal.
Right.
Its AC, once again, just another drop, 16 AC, but now 112 HP, which is
Right.
much lower.
Yeah.
I'd actually be surprised if you didn't increase that for the fight.
I think he did. But
I don't know.
it's a big drop off, and I think this thing is threatening enough to match that drop off because it gets really strong.
Right. I mean, we haven't even gotten into its attacks, which is the real damage dealers.
Yeah, the harpoon arm being the main one. So it makes a harpoon arm attack and then a sorrowful embrace. And the harpoon arm is just absolutely perfect for this thing because it's a 60-foot range. And its picture is really creepy. It's just like arm, just kind of, it's like loose and lays on the ground,
Right.
hook on the end of it, and it's just like whoosh.
It's like flesh rope is
Yeah.
attaching to it.
Yeah. And so it does 48 plus 3 piercing damage, and the target is grappled if it's large or smaller. And then I thought it had something to pull it towards it.
Oh, that's Sorrowful Embrace.
Okay, yeah. Oh, there it is.
Which
Then
it does.
yeah.
It does one of each: harpoon attack and Sorrowful Embrace.
Right, and then with the sorrowful embrace, everyone who's grappled must DC 15 Wisdom save or take 48 psychic damage. In either case, the Lonely pulls each creature grappled by it up to 30 feet straight towards it.
Yep. So getting it, closer to. So first off, if it's 60-foot range, it pulls it 30 feet. It's immediately going to get the Thrives on Company.
Right.
And then the next turn, if it's still grappling you, still going to pull you in, and now you've got the Psychic Leech taking effect every turn.
Right. So then you're taking 3d6 damage plus then 48 damage from the sorrowful embrace, all psychic as well.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's it can have 2 of those as well. It's not limited to just one arm,
Right.
like the Hungry's kind of limitation, where it can only really claw and bite
Right.
one creature at a time. This, it's going to be grabbing 2. So it's probably, if you want to play this as a real dick DM, go ahead and grab that wizard.
Yeah, and I think that's the nice thing about this guy is it's going to be an almost constant active battle because if you get out of its embrace, it might just say, you know what, you're allowed to no longer be in my embrace, friend, because I'd like this wizard to be in.
Right. I want more friends.
feet
Yeah, you
is
want
a
people.
lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how I played it. Was trying to get everybody close to
it.
Yeah, I think
That
actually
fucking
let people
sucked,
go.
man.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
was
well, I
brutal.
Yeah.
I changed this one. I think we talked about it after the fact because I knew you guys. I think you were level
7.
8. So you were 7.
7
Okay,
is
yeah,
right when we got out.
yeah, and I knew if I left it as is with only 112 hit points, you guys would have just destroyed it.
Yeah.
So I tweaked its thrives on company a bit, where for every one person within 30 feet, every single one of its stats increased by 1. So its AC went up 1, its strength, dex, whatever went up 1, its plus to hit went up 1, its damage went up 1, and so on. Which I thought wouldn't be that crazy, and it ended up getting super out of hand, and it nearly killed you guys.
I forget why it made it so.
The
I think it
The
made
AC
AC was the big one. I should have that for every 2 or something.
This is a
or-
DM lesson. Don't fuck with AC too much unless
Yeah.
you really, really research it and think about the situation, because 1 point of AC can really screw things up pretty quick.
I mean, every 1 point of AC is a 5% less chance for you to hit.
Yeah.
That's just the really basic math to it. So, if you're increasing the AC by 4, which you probably got to pretty quick, that's
Yes,
a 20% less chance for us to hit.
Yeah, made a 20 AC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then it also took us plus 7 to hit, up to plus 11.
So
It's
it was
48
hitting every
plus
time.
3
Yep.
up to
We
48
weren't
plus
hitting
7.
at all. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it got... No one died. I didn't
No.
have to fudge dice rolls. You guys did manage it. But that was supposed to be like a medium to hard encounter, and it made it very deadly.
Well,
So it was a little over the top, but that was my homebrew tweak to this. It ended up being neat. It was
Right.
fun. It was fun for me to play.
I wasn't entirely mad about it either
Yeah.
because it was like a character pivotal
Yeah.
time where it wasn't like part of the story and we weren't going to progress if it happened. It was like, trying to save the person who trained me and stuff. So,
Yeah.
it was also the only fight that day.
It was. Yeah,
So-
it was a one-off thing. So, yeah.
We had the resources to deal with it.
Yeah.
I think if it was a normal adventuring day and we were like kind of, out of some spells and out of whatever, and it would have been a very difficult and awful fight. All right, that one's a lot of fun. I really
Yeah.
just love the idea though of just pulling everybody in closer and just continuing to wail on everyone. It's good stuff.
And it's also it's actually kind of a counterpoint to the hungry. Its nature reveals itself very easily
Yeah.
and
Oh,
very
yeah.
clearly. We understood how that fight was going within 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
The
And I thought that was
hungry,
good.
it would have been like, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So I liked it.
And more importantly than like, oh, I don't know what's going on with the hungry. It's like I also don't care.
Yeah.
I was like, meh, I'm still gonna just keep playing the way I need to play.
One thing, though, it almost seems to kind of reverse the idea of not giving into its emotions. So, like, with the angry, if you get angry as well and fight back, it makes the angry worse.
Right.
That's kind of what it's saying. With the lonely, it would almost be like, so if everyone, like, rushes to it and hugs this thing, it's going to, like, that's what will weaken it.
Right.
But it's like, but now that everyone's around it, it's no longer lonely. It fights even better.
Yeah.
It kind of reverses it. Just a little weird.
I think you could argue it. If you make the angry, that's bad. If you feed the hungry, that's bad. If you accompany the lonely, that's bad. It's kind of almost feeding into its emotions.
Okay,
Yeah.
true.
Yep.
It's not like a 1-to-1. This is very vague stuff, but
Yeah.
it kind of works.
Yeah. All right, next one.
Yeah.
The Lost.
Which is not really an emotion.
This one actually, it sounds very similar to the lonely. Like the lost try and embrace any creature they could reach, attempting to find solace in the contact.
Yeah.
It's like it sounds very.
It's the
similar.
lonely, but like a lot closer.
Yeah. Yeah, it says the shadow. There's particular lore. The Shadowfell turns visitors around until they become marooned in a twisted landscape. The lost are representations of the anxiety and fear that people experience when they can't find their way. These Sorrowsworn appear as desperate and panicked things. I could get that flavor. That's neat. That's interesting.
Right.
But yeah, it sounds very similar to how their mechanics work out. It's about embracing people and clinging to things. Yeah.
Right. So this one is a challenge rating 7, so another 2-drop, armor class of 15, HP of 78, which is pretty low. They don't actually have any passive ability like the other ones. It does have a reaction that is just if the lost takes damage while it has a creature grappled, that creature takes 4d8 psychic damage.
Yeah.
And
That one fucked you guys.
yeah, I remember that. I think it had our wizard, and she was like, "I need to banish this thing this round, or I die."
Yeah.
And it's like, let's see how this goes, and it worked. But yeah, that was that was scary. So it's got multi attack where it makes 2 arm spike attacks, 2d10 plus 3. That's plus 6 to hit. Okay, standard attack. Or it makes its embrace, which is which you already went over, but it just grapples it. The target is frightened, and they just take a whole bunch of damage.
This, yeah.
You didn't cover this one?
No, not yet.
Oh, well, I'm just all over the place then.
Yeah, plus 6 to hit. 40, 10 plus 3 piercing damage. Grapple with a DC 14. Yeah, and the target is frightened and takes 68 psychic damage at the end of each of its turns, well embraced.
Yeah, and then if somebody does damage to it, it just tightens the embrace and does another 48 psychic.
Which
is
is
the reaction.
Absolutely is going to happen. If you manage to get someone embraced, that will happen. Because that's everyone's reaction.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, that thing hit it a lot and it's not letting it go. Quick, go stab it.
Right.
Like,
When
nope.
really you need to Misty Step the fuck out or banish it or anything.
And so
or
this actually
just
does
get
kind of make it unique in its own way. I think the best way to play these things is almost like the quasi suicide bomber that runs up and it grabs your party member, and that's it. That's it.
That was how
That's what
how
it-
you
that's what
played
it does.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then it used its arm spike attacks.
Yeah, and it's got 4 of these things. So
yeah.
yeah, that
can
was
use
such good flavor too, because like you said, like
Yeah,
it like
it's
grabbed in, and then the
then
arm
it-
spikes came around, just stabbed into her back. Yeah. Oh, I hated that. Oh, that's
Wait,
good stuff.
I lied. It has 5 arm spikes.
Yeah.
It has 5.
That bugs me.
Oh, ew.
There's an extra one coming out.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Oh, by the way, absolutely look up the art for these things. They're terrifying. The art's great. It fits really well.
Very Dead Space-esque, in my opinion.
Yes.
But this one especially.
This one.
It almost is a
Looks
rip
like it
off
was
of
ripped
some
out of
Dead Space.
Yeah, I want to take a beam cutter and cut off his arms, then shoot it at the next guy, the Wretched. I love that mechanic. Shoot off your enemy's arms. Use gravity to shoot those arms at other people.
Yeah, so I mean, this one's cool. As you said, it's the perfect one to work with other ones. I
Yes.
feel like that worked really well.
Yeah.
If this was the only thing you were fighting, you're probably going to accidentally kill your party member very quickly. Because it's going to run in. If you're like talking about putting it against like, it's challenge rating 7. So we're talking about like party level 4, 5 maybe. This thing's going to run in, grapple onto somebody, and you're like, everybody, do all of your damage to it. And then
Right.
just like 2 turns later, 10d8 psychic damage. Then the next turn, 20d8 psychic damage, ignoring the arm spikes. Oh boy, it's done. We're done here. Oh, it's so
How'd you
much.
get to 10?
68 psychic damage for the embrace, and then the tightening embrace for another 48. And that's
Oh,
ignoring the
yeah.
4d10 piercing damage from the embrace or the 2d10 for the arm spikes.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a lot of damage. It's an absurd amount of damage against a single target. And that's the thing. It seems like it's a single target one. Whereas the Lonely, you're playing it as like, let's get everybody over here.
Right.
The Lost is
Yeah.
like, I found one thing.
It's desperately trying to cling on to
Exactly.
whatever it can.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it hits hard.
Yes.
It is, yeah.
And you can't avoid this damage either, really.
No.
No,
It just happens.
yeah, and it's psychic as well.
All right.
So actually, for all the people who lament having a
Barbarian?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
in their party, it's like, oh, they're so hard to kill. Throw some Sorrowsworn at them. There's
Yep.
always psychic damage.
Yep. I did Mind Flayers and almost killed
Yeah.
the Bear Totem Barbarian.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, so many intelligence saves.
Yep. I was like,
And
you know
then
what?
psychic damage, yeah.
I was like, I'm totally sick of your shit. I'm gonna put you in the hot seat for a minute, and then Mind Flayers have that thing where if they bring you to 0, they just instantly kill you.
Yeah, by eating your brain.
Yeah, and so I got him to 0, and I was like, and I played it nice because I wasn't expecting that. I think I said like as long as because he was at the Mind Flayer was at like 10 HP when it brought him down to 0.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, if you kill him by the end of this round, then he'll be safe. Like he's just unconscious, and you guys succeeded on that.
Yeah.
So Next is the Wretched.
The Wretched. And this one
Last
drops
one.
down a lot.
Yes.
Challenge rating 1/4.
This is cannon fodder.
Yep. Yes, the horrid little monsters. It has like 2 sentences, so I'll just read it.
Go for
The
it.
Wretched gather in large packs to scour the Shadowfell for prey. These pitiful entities subsist on life force, so when they find a creature, they surge forward to sink their fangs into their victims and drink deep of their life energy and their fear.
Delicious.
Yeah.
So really easy to kill one of them. 15 AC, 10 HP. So, an attack or two maybe. But they've got a speed of 40. They have those same resistances that everything else has. So as long as they're not in light, they've got resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. They have pack tactics, which is always good. And it's any of its allies. So that doesn't need to be another Wretched. And the way that you used it, which was great, was throwing it in with other Sorrowsworn.
Yeah.
They made great, just nuisances, because they do pack a bit of a punch. I mean, that's their bite is 1d10 piercing damage, and then what is it? It latches on and does 1d10 necrotic damage every turn, and it can have multiple attached to you at one time. Right? I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah.
So they're just a problem that when you're trying to fight a much bigger issue, you're like, holy shit, these things need to fucking
they just
die.
swarm and latch onto people.
Right.
And then, applying that necrotic damage every turn.
Right.
And it moves with the person and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're great at burning actions because 15 doesn't sound high, but for a challenge rating 1/4, that is kind of high.
Yeah.
And to detach these things costs an action. To bash it costs an action. If you've got somebody with a lot of moves, this would be where a monk would shine.
Yeah.
Fighters with more attacks would shine. AoEs will nuke these things, but they are a great nuisance that round out the Sorrowsworn pack, in my opinion.
Right. If you're ever like, oh, my party's kind of on the cusp of this challenge rating, just throw in the Wretched with them as well, and you've got yourself a great, memorable fight.
Yeah.
You kind of did this, but not really. But yeah, if they're kicking the Sorrowsworn's ass too much, just a pack of these guys run in.
Which we weren't kicking their ass too much. It was a
Kevin's
very
just
fine
mean.
fight. Oh, man. I'm so excited to play again. It's been too long. Wednesday.
3 weeks.
Yep. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Let's go. Let's play right now. Fuck the other 2 players that are in their group.
I'll just phone them in.
Yeah, all right. So this is all I got about the Sorrowsworn. I think they're super cool.
Oh, yeah.
I would fight them again. More importantly, I will use them. I guarantee it at some point in the future. They're just too good not to bring them out every once in a while.
Yeah.
Very versatile, very interesting. Great fight overall, in my opinion.
For sure.
Cool. All right. Thanks for listening. That's how you always say it. Just trying to be like you. I was hoping to also match you, but it didn't work.
Nah.
No.
Thanks for listening.
Next week, Monsters and Multiclass.
Join us as we discuss the Bard Paladin multiclass and then the Bugbears. So that'll be part 3 of our Goblinoid series. The Goblining. I guess the Bugbearing in this case. Yeah.
Quick Baron.
Bugbearing.